AMA-sanctioned Camel Supercross Series. The opening round of Supercross 91, the Ultimate Challenge, set the pace for the ongoing series. The series has moved to Houston for round 2, and the action promises to the Ultimate Challenge. Once referred to as the 8th wonder of the world, the Houston Astrodome was the first dome stadium of its kind ever constructed. The Astrodome is home for baseball's Houston Astros and the NFL's Houston Oilers. Tonight, though, the huge crowd on hand will be cheering as motorcycles, not baseballs or footballs, fill the air. Hello, everyone. I'm Larry Myers. Welcome to Supercross 91, the Ultimate Challenge. Tonight, some of the most talented athletes in the world will go head-to-head in the Coors Light Challenge. It's round 2 of the Camel Supercross Series. With me to help bring you all the exciting race action, 3-time national champion, now retired from San Antonio, Texas, Kent Howerton. Kent, the complexion of Supercross has changed considerably since you were a factor in the sport in the early 80s.
It's changed considerable, Larry. The tracks were much more simple back then. They're much more difficult now with different types of jumps. I got to admit, they're much more exciting to watch now, but personally, I'd rather be racing back then.
Well, I'll tell you what, you provided the same number of thrills as we see today and we'll see out here tonight, Kent. It was great watching you. Now, Kent and I will bring you the action from way above the floor of the stadium, trackside, and in the pits, Wendy Walsh.
Thanks, Larry. You know, Supercross is one of the most exciting sports that I have ever witnessed in my life. And I'm going to take you behind the scenes to show you all of the exciting color and lifestyle and some interviews. But right now, let's go back to the race.
Thank you, Wendy. Action from the exciting 125 class is coming up, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. The 125cc's are ready to go, but first, let's take a look at how the 125 riders got into the main event. Earlier today, heat races were run. The top 9 finishers in each of 2 heats went on to the main. Riders 10th through 20th went to the last chance qualifier. Now, from that race, the top finishing rider went to the main event. Now, coming up, we'll look back at some of the heat race action held earlier today, but first the track. It's wide at the start. It has to be to accommodate the field of 20 or so riders on the start gate. A series of bumps down the long starting straightaway slow the riders up so that when they hit that first corner, and it's awfully narrow there is room for the riders to get through. Then a series of jumps. Some of them will propel the rider up to 70 feet in the air. There are moguls designed to upset the rider's timing. Steep bank curves, there are high bank straightaways. A Supercross track is a diabolical layout. It's designed to provide excitement and action, and believe me, it does. First heat race in the 125cc class. Here's how it's shaped up. On the starting gate, riders are edgy. As you can see, they're waiting for the drop of that gate in order to hammer down that long straightaway. Out front, rider number 483 is Mike Brown. He's the rider that got the whole shot aboard the Honda. Right behind him, rider number 20, Buddy Antonez. Behind Antonez, the rest of the field. They're hooking up, they're clawing their way, they're handlebar banging, trying to work their way into one of the qualifying positions. Now, the field quickly spreads itself out. The better riders with a whole shot, and Brown, as you can see there, almost went down. He got a little bit sideways and almost lost control of the bike, but he saved it at the last moment. Antonez closed, and Antonez almost went down, almost running into the side of that tunnel. Antonez closed, but was not able to make the pass. But watch what happens coming up here. Antonez is going to take an inside line, and he takes the lead away from Brown. But Brown, who was deep in that corner, got the good drive, the hard drive coming out of the corner, and he held on to the lead while Antonez runs off the end of the straightaway in his efforts to catch and pass Brown. Now, Antunez is allowed to re-enter the course, assuming he gets back on exactly where he went off, and that's what Antunez does, but he's trailing about 1.5 miles of the Camel banners behind him in the process. Meanwhile, Jeremy McGrath, rider number 125, has moved into the number 2 position, and he's chasing Brown, but Brown by this time has a pretty good lead on the rest of the field. In the closing stages of heat race number 1, rider number 29, a teammate of Jeremy McGrath, moves up to challenge McGrath for that number 2 position. Now that battle is back behind Brown. You can see it just coming into the picture. Brown, though, takes the checkered flag, the win with a beautiful cross-up. Behind Brown, it was Jeremy McGrath, followed by Steve Lampson, Chris Young, and Chris Neal. Heat race number 2 in the 125 class provided even more drama and excitement than did heat race number 1. The gate drops and some 20 riders head toward corner number 1, and we're going to see the domino effect here. See that one rider going down in the corner of your screen? Jeremy Buell out front paid no attention, but behind him, that one rider took out 3 or 4 others. They'll all have to go to the last chance qualifier to make it into the main event. Meanwhile, up front, it was Jeremy Buell from the Peak Antifreeze Pro Circuit Honda team, followed by Suzuki's Talon Boland. These 2 riders stayed that distance, just a few feet apart throughout the entire race. Here's an incident that happened behind them. Riders looked like, well, they're in a little bit of pain, but they both had the wind knocked out of them. They both got up, and they were back participating in more races before the evening was over. Meanwhile, out front, Jeremy Buell continued to get the job done and still being hounded by Talon Boland, running in the number 2 position. Well, behind the leaders, running mid-pack, rider number 42 was Brian Swink. Now, Swink figured to be a factor in this one, in that he won the opening 125cc round at Orlando. But Swink had to struggle to make it into the main event from his heat race. Back to the leaders, where the fight for the number 1 position was still going on. Jeremy Buell out front, right behind him aboard the yellow Suzuki, Talon Boland. Throughout the second heat race of the 125 class, as sanctioned by the American Motorcyclist Association, these 2 riders pounded each other and the track here at Houston. When it was over, the checkered flag went to Jeremy Buell, number 25, with Boland running a close second. Behind them came Ryan Hughes, Tim Holmes, and Cliff Farmer rounding out the top 5. We'll be back with more exciting action from the 125 main event. Welcome back to Supercross 91, the Ultimate Challenge. The 125cc main event, part of the Coors Light Challenge, is staged and just about ready to go. But before the gate drops, let's take a look at the exciting finish of last week's main event in Orlando, Florida. It was the season opener, and it was a great one. Now, number 37 on the green Kawasaki is Ryan Hughes. Close behind is number 42, Brian Swink. He's riding a Honda. Throughout most of the main event, Swink was the leader, but with just a couple of laps remaining, Hughes from out of the pack caught Swink, made the pass, and took over the front-running position. Brian Swink, though, did not drive all the way from Fenton, Michigan to finish second. Watch what happens in these last couple of corners and down the last couple of short straightaways. Swink is going to almost go out of control, but he's going to make the pass, and he'll win by a couple of feet at the checkered flag. We're looking for more of this same type of excitement in the 125 main about to come up. The card is going to go sideways momentarily, and 20 of the best 125 riders in the world at Supercross are going to have at it. Look at the intense concentration on the faces of those riders as they watch the gate. We'll watch their hands release, and here we go. We're underway. A good start. All riders away as 20 riders head toward corner number 1. Out front, rider number 20. He's clearly got the whole shot. Buddy Antunez, a West Coast rider, and we'll get into that more in just a second. Antunez has company, a whole host of riders on his rear wheel. But it's Buddy Antunez out of Ontario, California, showing the rest of the riders the short way around the track, and already the bumping and the pushing and the shoving are starting. But the thrill of the first corner, Kent, for everyone on the line must be where it's at.
That first turn is, well, for my case, was a nightmare. That's your biggest fear. You've got to get through that obstacle in order to race. The first lap in a Supercross race, there's so many things going on. Pipes flying around, and you don't really know what's going to happen. You just try and hold your line the best you can and go as fast as you can for good position.
This is Buddy Antonez's second year competing in the 125 class. He won a couple of events last year, although did not win the championship. Now, he has got all kinds of competition out there. They're breathing down his rear wheel. It's number 19, Talon Boland. Talon Boland was a factor in Orlando 1 week ago, although not winning the race. And interestingly enough, behind Talon Boland is an older brother, Tyson Boland. And I believe Tyson Boland might be in another 3 position, and he is. We've got a pair of brothers out there running second and third. Talon Boland, number 19, Tyson Boland, number 311. Boy, I don't, is brotherly love gone by the wayside?
Well, you know, I've watched these two guys race before, and it seems like they kind of complement each other.
They're complimenting each other, all right. I think Tyson Boland right now, who did most of his racing in 1990 in Europe, is saying, get out of my way, little brother, I'm coming through.
Well, you know,
Antonez gets past. No, he does not. He holds on. He holds on. Excuse me, Ken.
being brothers, sometimes they can help each other ride. There's a little bit stronger bond than just a friend.
What are you thinking? Is Tyson Boland aware that the guy in front of him is his brother? I think, Ken, excuse me, that answers the question. He could have taken Talon out right there, and he didn't do it.
I think they're going to have respect for each other. You know, they've grown up with each other. They know what they're thinking.
Buddy Antonez, Talon Boland running second. Tyson Boland running third. What a dogfight we've got in this 125 name. You talk about exciting race action. We have got it.
This is
now
very
Mr. Boland, there goes Talon Boland. He takes over the #1 spot, and Tyson follows him. Now we've got brothers in first and second. We've got a brotherly love battle for the lead in this one. Kent, a pair of riders on the track going head-to-head. Earlier, we had a chance to talk to both of them about brotherly love in racing. Here's what they had to say.
We try to work together and help each other a lot when we're practicing stuff, but when it comes down to racing, you know, it's racing. He's just like any other guy on the track.
If it's the last lap, I will try to pass him, but I will not knock him down.
I would do what I had to do to win, and I'm sure he would do the same.
As long as we're 1 and 2, we feel we accomplished our goal in beating everyone else, and that's the way we'd love to see it happen.
Here we go back to the front runners in this one, a pair of brothers, the Bolands. Talon Boland out front, Tyson Boland running in a #2 position. Started to say earlier, Kent, that Tyson Boland spent 1990 in Europe campaigning the Grand Prix wars. I cannot believe that helped or sharpened his Supercross skills.
Well, you know, although it might have been a little bit different, he might have learned some different things that he could still apply over here.
Supercross is an American sport. In Europe, they tend to go for the outdoor form of the sport, known as motocross, more specifically the World Championship Grand Prix competition. That is what Talon Boland was doing, and while there's a wealth of experience, a wealth of knowledge to be gained by riding there, when you ride Supercross, Kent, it's different than any other form of two-wheel motorsport.
The biggest thing about Supercross is aggressiveness. You cannot be late. You've got to take action or you're going to get passed.
Brian Swink, number 42. Jeremy McGrath, number 125, his teammate. That pair of riders in a battle for 3rd and 4th position. And there goes McGrath to the inside. Swink gave him just a little bit of room. McGrath tried to move in. Were they not teammates, Kent? I have to think that pass was made. I think he would have pushed him out of the way a little bit.
Well, he might have caught him just by surprise.
There he goes to the inside. He tried a block pass. Swink squared it off from deep in the corner, got to the inside, and he regained the lead momentarily, but Jeremy McGrath come right back. He kept it on, and he takes over the #3 position. Jeremy McGrath is riding for the West Coast in the 125 race, while Brian Swink rides for the East Coast. I think it's good to point out that there are a pair of national championships at stake, one in the East, one in the West. That gives more opportunity to the younger riders in this 125 class to come up and be competitive.
Let's go to Wendy Walsh for an action report that's close to the track, but not on it.
At Supercross, most of the action takes place inside the arena, but not all of it. Here at the Houston Astrodome, things are a little bit different. The pits are inside underneath the grandstand. While most Supercross mechanics enjoy the luxury of a big open parking lot, not like that in Houston. These pits are certainly convenient. They're right here beside the track. but because they're inside, they have other problems.
Basic difference is when you're indoors, the lighting's a little worse. You don't have any of the power tools we might use in the trucks. If you have an emergency down here, it may be a little more difficult to get it repaired as quickly.
You can't have gas in here. We have to go back out to the truck to fill up the bikes. There's a lot of things that you need that you can't bring in, but it's pretty nice being up close to the track.
There's always something that you're leaving up in the pits. It's much easier to work out of your truck.
Being down here, though, for the riders, it's a little bit warmer. It's, you know, a little bit of an inconvenience, but it's not really that big of a deal.
Now Jeremy McGrath is closing on Tyson Boland, rider number 311. Boland has been in that spot for a good number of laps. It's in jeopardy. The Pro Circuit Honda riders, the battle between McGrath and Brian Swink, have taken that pair close to the front. And McGrath is challenging Boland for second place.
A lot of times a rider does very well at the beginning of the race. On the other hand, another rider feels much more comfortable after he's already gotten warmed up. So there's sometimes a conflict in riding styles.
And there's going to be a conflict out here. There's going to be an all-out war as Jeremy McGrath, rider number 125, challenges Tyson Boland, number 311, for supremacy in this, the 125 main event. There goes McGrath to the inside. He's going to try a block pass, and he gets away with it. Boland should have hit the brakes. He should have hit the brakes and tried to dive underneath him. He didn't think fast enough.
He left himself open for that.
When a rider leaves himself open in this contact, it's the rider's fault that left the door open. Under the tunnel is Jeremy McGrath has taken over the number 2 position. If you've just joined us, you're looking at, I should say, the battle for the number 2 position in the 125 main event here in the Houston Astrodome. Number 125 is Jeremy McGrath. Tyson Boland, number 311, is running third behind McGrath. And there's Boland as he pops into the street. White flag time. This one is just about history. Here's a look at our leader. Talon Boland whipped by the mechanics area. He pumps his fist in the air. There has got to be a happy young man up over and takes the checkered flag. Trent, what runs through your mind at that point?
That's a feeling that's a little bit hard to describe in words, Larry.
Tyson Boland looked clear across the track. He saw Talon and gave him that big thumbs up. There's Jeremy McGrath, number 125. He finished second. And Tyson Boland now looking for his younger brother. Now watch this. This should be good. The two of them stop on a hill, and you know what? I have to think that Tyson is extremely happy at this point. He only got third, but he's got to be pumped because little brother, he taught him how to ride, Kent, just won the main event at the Houston Astrodome.
Let's go to Wendy Walsh, who was with Talon Boland, for a report on, well, brotherly love.
You were neck and neck for so long with your brother. How did you feel about that?
Man, you know, actually, I think it helped out. Me and him practiced and helped each other a lot at home. And when I looked over the jump and he was behind me, I'm like, shoot, this is just like home. And I knew there was nobody behind him. So I just rode relaxed, and I think he did too. And I'm just really happy to be here. I worked really hard this week. I ran a lot of miles, and I think it paid off.
It certainly did. What was going through your mind during those final 3 laps?
I'm going to win the Houston Supercross. This Houston crowd's great, and I'm just so excited.
Oh, well, congratulations to you. Back to you, Larry.
Supercross 91, the ultimate challenge. We'll be back with more right after this. Up 8 riders, 4 from each heat. We went then to a pair of semifinals, and from the semis, the top 5 moved to the main. That gives us 18 riders. All that was left was a last chance qualifier, and from that event, the top 2 finishers took the final 2 positions in the main event. Now let's take a look at the exciting action in the heat races held earlier this evening.
This one's about to get underway. Heat race number 1, the gate drop, and it is a single unit. 20 motorcycles blast off the line, headed toward corner number 1. The French rider on the inside looks good. That's Jean-Michel Bale, but no, Damon Bradshaw stole the whole shot. I thought it was all Bale's, but Bradshaw bullied his way through. He's your leader. Jean-Michel Bale running second in the number 3 spot. Guy Cooper, the 05
Oklahoma 125 national champ. This heat race looks like a main event. It is going to be exciting. Bradshaw still out front, followed by Bale. Now, what are you thinking, Kent? You're in the lead. Are you riding defensively at this point, or do you look straight ahead and just give it all you've got?
Well, at this point in time, everybody's trying to get position. They're going as fast as they can. You don't really have time to settle down and concentrate on the track. You want to try and get out as far as you can.
And there we saw a pass, a midair pass. Guy Cooper went for the triple. Jean-Michel Bale settled for a double, and he lost a place in the process. Bradshaw is swirling again. Look at this. And Guy Cooper takes advantage of the situation and blasts into the #1 spot. The remarkable thing here is Guy Cooper is riding with a right knuckle on his little finger that is badly bruised. As a matter of fact, he was operated on just a couple of weeks ago, and 2 screws were inserted, and I am surprised that he is going that fast. And a bang and a bump as Damon Bradshaw tries to squeak by Cooper. Cooper says no way, and he refuses to give ground. Bradshaw, coming through that corner, just plowed into the side of Cooper. I don't believe it, and now Jean-Michel Bale takes advantage of a little mishap by Bradshaw, and he moves into second place. We have got a real barn burner here. Kent, if there's one thing different from the days that you were riding, and Michel Bale stalls his bike. He went for a block pass. He got there late, stalled his motorcycle, and it was history. Guy Cooper now is all alone out front. Here comes Damon Bradshaw, and that'll put Michel Bale way back off the pace. This is unbelievable racing.
I'd say Bale's probably out of it with the amount of time that they have.
There goes Bradshaw with a block pass, and Cooper with an unbelievable move railed around the outside. This is not a race, it's a war. Guy Cooper is unbelievable. Damon Bradshaw has done everything outside of hitting him with a shovel to get him off the track, to knock him down. Cooper has refused to give way. Here comes another one. He tried to run it in on him again. Oh, I can't believe how good Cooper is riding. No, sir, there was no way to go. Cooper just refuses to be denied. This is going to be a popular win, and I can't wait to see what he does when he crosses the finish line. Watch this. Look at that. Oh! Was that pretty or what? Okay, let's go down to Wendy, who was with our winner, Guy Cooper.
That was an amazing race. After you took Damon Bradshaw, overtook him early in the race. It was a virtual dogfight for the lead. What was going through your mind?
Well, this is my first race back in 6 weeks. I know I'm tired, more tired than the other riders, so I got my attack early in the race, and then I just wanted to hold on to it. It's a heat race. No one's paid for a heat race, but I kind of like playing with the younger guys.
Here are the qualifiers from heat race #1. Guy Cooper, Damon Bradshaw, Jean-Michel Bale, and Doug Dubach with the final transfer position. Now, before we look at action from heat race #2, let's get up close and personal with the hottest teenager to hit the tracks in several years. They call him the Beast from the East. It's Team Yamaha's Damon Bradshaw. Bradshaw jumped into the winner's circle in the first 2 rounds of the 1990 season, taking first place in Anaheim and Houston with a wild riding style. Then in San Diego, he crashed hard while fighting for the lead. Out of contention for the next 3 rounds while his ankle healed, Damon returned to gradually ace out other top riders, winning big in Charlotte, Pontiac, and Los Angeles, the final event of the 1990 season. Now, Damon does crash more than most, but as he is often heard saying, you never know just how fast you can go until you do crash. He says his life goal is to win the 125, 250, and 500 outdoor nationals, as well as the Supercross championship. Only one rider in the history of U.S. Motocross and Supercross has turned that trick, and that was the great Jeff Ward. Bradshaw has yet to win his first championship, but make no mistake, he has all the tools to get the job done. 1991 could be the year the Charlotte, North Carolina teenagers' dreams begin to come true. Well, we're looking at the lineup for heat race #2, and in it, our defending champion and the winner 1 week ago in Orlando, Jeff Stanton for Team Honda. Ron Tischler, there's a shot, rider #7, Jeff Matasevich. He led the 1990 series for, I would say, 3/4 of the way through before finally the rookie fell off due to pressure. And I think that we're looking at the dollars involved and the notoriety involved. You can understand why. The gate is dropped, and we're underway with heat race #2. The drag race to corner #1 belongs to Jeff Stanton. The guy has been on him, but look what's coming through on the inside. A pair of Kawasaki's. Jeff Stanton, I thought, had it wired, and all of a sudden, Two riders named Jeff. Jeff Matasevich out front, number 7. Jeff Ward, rider number 3, running in the number 2 position. Matasevich out front. There he is. We've got a rider down, and one of them is Jeff Ward. The other is Ron Tischer. Jeff Ward, rider number 3. His bike is laying in the middle of the track. I do not see Ward. Ron Tischer was the other rider. He was in 4th place, involved in that altercation. There is Jeff Ward. Ward has walked off the racetrack way down to the end, and he's sitting down.
That was a very serious place where he crashed. He crashed on the triple jump. There's a lot of speed, a lot of height. It's kind of like jumping off a 2-story building going 60 miles an hour.
There's Matasevich as he clears with Ward behind him.
Well, it looked like Jeff just landed too short on the jump. He took the full impact. And like I said, a crash like that's equivalent to jumping off a 2-story building at 60 miles an hour.
Unbelievable that Tischer was not involved until after he landed. He ran into Jeff Ward and joined the carnage. Let's hope both riders are all right. Back to race action. It's Matasevich out front. He's being pursued by the defending champion, Jeff Stanton, who missed narrowly being involved in that altercation. He just barely got by Ward. That's the 2nd week in a row that Jeff Ward has experienced some kind of problem. Let's go back and take a look at what happened in Orlando just 1 week ago in the main event. Jeff Ward was battling for the lead in this one when all of a sudden Jeff Ward come down wrong. He landed on one leg, could have been seriously injured, but survived that one also to finish 9th. Could be Ward now is out for the night. We'll have to wait and see.
That was a pretty hard crash.
Whoa! Excuse me, Kent, but Matasevich almost unloaded. I think Stanton was lined up to try a block pass. He was running it in awfully hard. Out of the corner of his eye, he saw Matasevich almost go down, and he backed out of it. That was a wise move. 1 lap to go. Let's see now if Stanton has anything left. What are your thoughts?
Well, Jeff has had time to follow him, and he knows where he's weak. What Jeff has to do now is position himself to wherever he thinks he can make the pass. If he can't put himself in that position, he might not be able to make the pass. So you can't let him get too far away.
Just 1 week ago, the winner of the Coors Light Fast Heat Award went to Jeff Matasevich. He could be in line for that the 2nd week in a row. A huge bonus accompanies that honor, and I'm sure Matasevich has those thoughts in the back of his mind. We're headed now for the last portion of this one under the tunnel. They'll make that a left-hander, head through a rough whoop-de-doo section. Stanton is pulled up to the rear wheel. Watch this. Block pass time coming up. Oh, you can see it all the way.
He might have been thinking about that spot 3/4 of a lap back.
Kent, he looked over at Jeff Matasevich. Matasevich knew it was coming. There was nothing he could do. Matasevich could not prevent that pass, and Stanton takes the win. That was about as cold and calculating of a move that I have ever seen. Let's go down to Wendy, who was with Jeff Stanton, and we'll find out just how that move took place.
Earlier today, you hurt your wrist. Was it bothering you at all during the race?
Well, not so bad. Once you get out there and the momentum keeps you going, it doesn't really bother you so bad, so you just have to brush it off and keep going.
Here's how they qualified in heat race number 2. It was Stanton, Matasevich, Johnson, and Bowen. In semi number 1, Mike LaRocco, Mike Fisher, Larry Ward, Denny Stevenson, Mike Jones. The 2nd semi was Chris Young, Jason Upshaw, Mike Kidrowski, Fred Andrews, and Todd Zahoot. We'll be back with more action from Supercross 91, the ultimate challenge, right after the times and defending Camel Supercross champion. His closest competitor in this drive, Jean-Michel Bayle, his teammate, world champ from France. Then there's the beast from the East, Damon Bradshaw. He and Jeff Matasevich are both winless this year. Either one of them could get the job done tonight. As we take a look at the start, you see the gates are individual sections. If one rider tries to jump, he'll get caught. The rest of the riders, though, will be free and clear, and away they go. And it's a good start. 20 riders head toward corner number 1. It looks like it's all yellow out front. There's a lot of bumping and banging going on. Jean-Michel Bayle, rider number 8, snuck through on the inside to take over the number 1 spot. Right behind him, number 7, is Jeff Matasevich.
Looks like
Bayle, Matasevich, and Fisher. Mike Fisher is running 3rd on the KTM. Mike Fisher, rider number 14. He is beyond anyone's wildest imagination, just doing a fantastic job. No one really gave the KTM an opportunity or a chance to be up near the front in any Supercross event.
Well, it's been so long. KTM and the European bikes haven't made a good showing yet. KTM has shown real concern and real interest in producing a very good bike.
Well, earlier, Wendy Walsh had an opportunity to visit the KTM pits and talk to Mike Fisher and some of the other KTM personnel about the effort at motocross.
In a sport dominated by Japanese manufacturers, this year there's a team that's a little bit different. Their bikes are manufactured in Europe, Austria to be exact, and their name is KTM.
Our main objective is to show the American public how good KTMs are at motocross.
KTM has a very big market share in the enduro and off-road scene, motocross as well. Their Supercross market is, they can see a big opening there, and they're going to try to take over for as much as they can.
Last year we supported Keith Johnson. We're excited to keep Keith this year, to add Mike Fisher, put a full factory effort in.
My objective is to race and do as best I can. They feel that if I'm doing well and everything's working well with the bike, they're going to try to put that in production for the next year.
We're learning a lot, and I think we'll learn every race as we go on. We learned a lot at Orlando at the first round. I think we can realistically hope to finish in the top 10.
I would like to be in the top 5. I'm looking for top 5 finishes. I think KTM would be very happy with that, and I would be as well.
Back to the battle for the number 4 position. Bradshaw made the pass. A block pass. Kent, tell me about it.
Well, basically a block pass is when you just intercept the rider and cut in front of him. He has no place to go.
And he did just that, and Johnson had to hit the binders. And now Bradshaw's next target is the KTM rider, Mike Fisher. Fisher is in 3rd place. The battle we just looked at was for 4th. Bradshaw made the move and took over 4th. Let's see if he can catch Fisher. Fisher knows he's there. He can hear the engines revving.
I think Mike is just going to try and ride a conservative race. I don't think he's going to try and take any chances at this point.
Well, Mike Fisher told us earlier that realistically 5th place would be an outstanding finish. In my opinion, top 10 would be outstanding for this first-year effort.
It's very difficult today. The competition is so strong.
Mike Fisher holding down the number 3 spot, holding off the likes of Damon Bradshaw and Rick Johnson. An unbelievable situation.
I'd really like to see Ricky do good in some races, because personally I feel he's still young, and unless he really has a problem with his hand, I think he still has the capability of being a winning rider.
He does indeed have a problem with his hand. We've talked to Rick about it on several occasions. His career is coming to an end because of that injury. Earlier, this is what Rick had to say about his long and illustrious career.
When you're on top, you got people shooting at you. When you're at the bottom, you got people trying to run over you. So that's the nature of the game. Motocross is very physical and athletic sport, so it doesn't bother me if they run into me or if they try to knock me down. That's just part of racing, but I've been through a lot more than they have, and I have a lot more experience, so I feel that's going to prevail in this long championship series, that I have a lot of things up my sleeve that they don't even know about.
Back to the action. Fisher is still holding off the challenge of Damon Bradshaw. I cannot believe, if you're in the KTM pits, that you're not just jumping up and down for glory right now, wishing beyond all measures of reasonable that the checkered flag would come out, Kent.
Well, Mike is doing very well. He's holding his own.
Last year, Mike was a member of Team Kawasaki, and here comes that block pass again. Just as you said, he put his motorcycle in the way, and Fisher had nowhere to go. But a member of Team Kawasaki, he did not ride this well for the big green machine.
Mike has been struggling. He hasn't had the right opportunity that he really needs. Maybe that possibility to come with the KTM ride.
Jean-Michel Bale has pretty much left the rest of the field. Matasevich, running in the number 2 position, is way out in front of Bradshaw, who was 3rd. We've got something like a 10-second gap. The battle on the racetrack is all right here for the number 4, 5, and 6 positions, and holding that 4th spot. Oh, it's incredible. Here comes Mike LaRocco. LaRocco has not been a factor. We talked earlier about the fact that LaRocco gets terrible hole shots, comes from the back of the pack to make his impact on the field, and there he is. LaRocco rider number 6 from way off the pace. And Johnson now has moved to the number 4 position. Here comes Fisher right back at him. In your face pass, and Fisher takes over 4th again.
Mike is doing a very well job.
Look at this. Johnson hits the hay bales. That lets LaRocco through. Fisher in 4th. Now the battle for the number 5 position. Mike LaRocco, number 6.
This could get interesting here. These riders are very close together.
Oh, what a battle we have. Again, this is the battle for the number 4 position. There goes LaRocco with a triple jump. And speaking of LaRocco, earlier we talked to the Suzuki star about those treacherous triples. For this week's Man of Machine, we placed a small lipstick-sized camera on Houston's triple jump for a rather unique point of view. Here's Mike LaRocco.
Need to get a good drive, you know, set up in the berm early, you know, carry your momentum up the face of the triple. You can usually judge by jumping maybe in practice short or maybe a little over to the speed you'll need to do it. You know, you usually put that back in your mind, so when you come up to that triple every lap, you know, you usually hit it at the same speed, you know, usually in the same place because you know how the jump throws you. But usually just with a lot of throttle control and, you know, keep it on the gas enough to get over that third jump.
We'll be right back on Supercross 91, the ultimate take. Kent Howerton, the 250cc main event is history. It was exciting. Let's go to Wendy Walsh with the winner, Jean-Michel Bale.
Jean-Michel, last year you won 5 events. This is your first. You took such a big lead up at the beginning. How did you keep from getting comfortable and losing that lead?
Yeah, last week I was very comfortable too, but I just want to finish second for the first race. But today is a championship start, so I need to win some race, so I'll start today.
Well, congratulations. Jean-Michel Bale brings it home for Honda at Houston Astrodome. Back to you, Larry.
Well, after 2 rounds, Bale leads in series points with Damon Bradshaw, Jeff Stanton, Jeff Matasevich, and Mike LaRocco right behind. So ends another Coors Light Challenge. This one was round 2 of the Camel Supercross Series. Sanctioned by the American Motorcyclist Association, round 3 is next week at Anaheim Stadium, Anaheim, California. Tune in. The action is just starting to heat up. For Wendy Walsh and Ken Howerton, I'm Larry Myers saying so long. We'll see you next week on Supercross 91, the ultimate challenge. Over 8,000 cubic yards of dirt dumped on the floor of the Seattle Kingdome has been molded into a torturous Supercross racetrack. There are jumps that launch riders 70 feet in the air, bank turns that slingshot riders onto rutted high-speed straightaways, long stretches of off-camber moguls designed to unseat all but the best. It's a course that will test the merits of the best Supercross riders in the world. Supercross 91 is next. Supertrax presents Supercross 91, the ultimate challenge. Hello, everyone. I'm Larry Myers, host of Supercross 91, the ultimate challenge. With me to help bring you all of the excitement of Supercross, Mitch Payton, who manages the Pro Circuit race team. And Mitch, we're going to be looking at some of your riders out here tonight. They've been doing well all season, and I think with you up here in the booth rooting them on, they'll do even better.
Well, thanks, Larry. I hope they do well tonight, and from the looks of the crowd tonight, the 250 main event is going to be really exciting also.
Well, we're going to bring you all of that excitement from high on top of the Kingdome roof here in Seattle, while down on the track,